Hey everybody, it's your old pal Kydra Fraznoir, and welcome back to Medieval, the PS4 remake. We've finished the game. We have defeated Sarek and saved Gallowmere. Well, that was from the last part. Now that we finished the game, we're gonna take a look at the Book of Gallowmere, which is another addition to the PS4 remake. I've been saving this until after the final battle and ending. And now we've finished the game. Here we go. We're gonna take a look through it. Sir Daniel Fortescue, our boneheaded protagonist, born again into this age of wonders. In life, he was just the worst. A coward, a cheat, was this? Or was it, yeah. I don't recall. That word is hard to pronounce. But either way, he seems to have woken up different. Perhaps he can redeem himself. Sarek should be more careful where he aims his dark magic. And this guy, Morton, was so happy when Dan died. Sure, he was intentionally had a lot of housework to do, but now he's got the place to himself, and now he likes it. Of course, Dan coming back to life was a bit of a shock, but Morton will do anything he can to keep his home buddy safe and get him back to the earthly darkness as quickly as possible. Information gargoyles? Can you imagine how boring it would be to be a sentient being, wise even, and be stuck permanently to a brick wall? No wonder these guys are grumpy. They pass time by eavesdropping, gossiping, and bad-mouthing any bizarre-looking adventurers that might pass by. The heroes. The mightiest heroes of Gallowmere are rewarded a place in the Hall of Heroes. It's an exclusive club, with access paid for by only the greatest of deeds. Who runs the place? We don't know. How do the heroes pass the time for all eternity? We don't know. But trust me, these heroes are the best of the best, and they deserve every moment of whatever it is they do up there. Merchant gargoyles. Even in medieval times, they were vending machines designed to part a foolish hero from his gold. Clever customers may qualify for a discount, just don't ask the merchant how he acquires his wares. Mr. Organ? The imps of the Hilltop Mausoleum grew tired of the Phantom's incessant practice sessions and hid his sheet music away. Like most impish plans, this one backfired. The Phantom continues to bang the keys, but more slowly lacks improvisal skills. His name is hard to pronounce, but we should call him the Serpent Lord. This formidable serpent was somehow lured into a tiny chest and trapped by men working for King Peregrine's box. But anyhow, the king, the evil serpent of Gallowmere, went in for whoever sets him free, and an ever tighter one for his enemies. The Pumpkin Witch, winner of the Jolliest Witch in Gallowmere Award for the 4th consecutive year. Her name is hard to pronounce, but she actually runs a successful potions business and makes cool cheddar from her pumpkin spiced frittering. The other witches are secretly jealous. Jack of the Green. There once was a statue named Jack. For riddles he did have a knack. Dad entered the garden, which Jack was a garden a smart hero would have turned back. The Town Mayor. A leisurely adventurer in his heyday, this once beloved mayor stole the shadow artifact from Zarek's tower after the disgraced sorcerer was banished from the kingdom. When Zarek returned, so mad was he that he tore the whole town apart in his wrath, turning many of the good townsfolk into goats. After that, the mayor's approval ratings fell dra- dramatically. His re-election now seems unlikely, although these days it seems anything is possible. The Forest Witch, once part of the infamous Cemetery Hill Coven. Oh yeah, her name is her pronounced, but she was organized by her sisters when she refused to stop using the commercial cauldron to prepare her. Oh yeah, lunchtime brews. She now resides in the enchanted earth, where no one complains, or at least if they do, she just turns them into a toad. And seriously, do not lick those toads. The Fairies. A proud and fair race, the fairies were rulers of the underground world until the fateful day when the Ant Queen invaded their turf. Honestly, we don't know why the ants have them in prison, but for some reason, fairy magic doesn't seem to work against ants. Seems odd to me, but hey, I don't make the rules. The Dragon Elephants. Truly one of nature's marvels and found nowhere on Earth other than the lakes of Gallowmere. These peaceful creatures are the product of a chance encounter between an elephant and a dragon. Truly love knows no bounds. The feather-brained flock isn't good for much, not even shadow demon food. Farmers are far more filling. You may find yourself relying on the dimwit, but cross that drawbridge when you come to it. Captive farmers. Are these good men? Their farmyard toll puts food on the plates of the nation, but at what price? Could mutant pumpkins be the result of forcing innocent pumpkins to consume their fleshly brethren? Does safeguarding one's crops justify deployment of homicidal scarecrows? Who will speak for the wolves? Save them or don't. It's up to you. King Peregrine. Wise King Peregrine, they used to say. But seriously, this guy sent his entire army to battle the undead, led by led by you. Does that sound like someone else? Somehow, that battle was won without you, but it didn't really stop King Peregrine. He died a few days later after choking on Brussels sprout. They say his ghost lingers still in the haunted ruins, that he paces the halls late at night, coughing up sprout chunks. I think this story proves beyond a doubt that no one should ever eat Brussels sprouts. Vulture. Birds only like one person in their life. For some reason, this one likes Dan. The scavenger saw a corpse meal and instead found a friend. What a lovely way to meet. Zombies. These guys were fashionably undead before. It was fashionable to be undead. Your brain may have long since rotted away, but that won't stop them from eating it. Just a few chops should do them in. Be careful not to miss. That would be embarrassing. Severed hands? Dan's #1 fans. They can't afford to lend a hand, but they'll follow you to the ends of the earth, or at least to the end of the graveyard. Boulder gargoyles. These guardian gargoyles aren't much for conversation and don't ask to hear their singing voice, unless you're into rock and roll. Boulder Dash. Headless zombies. Have you ever had one of those days where you leave the house full of busy purpose, only to realize that you've left something really important at home? Well, that's how these guys feel all the time. Imps. Back in King Peregrine's day, imps were often kept as household servants. Sadly, those were cruel times, and many imps were treated very poorly by their masters. Really, it was no surprise when these cunning little creatures formed a secret alliance with Zarok. On the morning of the Battle of Gallowmere, every last one of King Peregrine's men awoke to find his house imp gone, and along with them every last undergarment in the kingdom. Never before had an army's change been so devastatingly broken before battle had even begun. Graveyard wolves. Ain't nature wonderful? This beautiful family of wolves had found a happy home in the graveyard. Back in their den, 6 pure, screamy little pups are waiting for good old Mom and Pop to return with delicious fresh meat. Well, perhaps graveyard meat isn't the most fresh, but at least it's easy to be found and safe. Because, let me tell you, elsewhere in Gallowmere, vengeful farmers have hunted these majestic beasts to the point of extinction. Thank goodness the last happy little family in here, among the peace and tranquility of the graveyard, where absolutely no harm can befall on them. Scarecrows. These straw men spin to win. They have teamed up with the crows to protect their cornfield home from strangers, whom they greet with sharp, spitting affection. Mad farmers. Nothing comes easy for these poor farmers. As Gallomere's population declines, so does the demand for their crops. It's no wonder they hide in haystacks. Show some sympathy and let them stab you a couple of times, eh? Are you crazy? Metal imps. Industrious, thieving imps built these wonderful machines to steal crops from the farmers. Personally, I think they'll do better mass producing these things and selling them to the farmers, but hey, thieves gotta thieve. Corn killers? These dreaded corn stalkers are utterly silent, totally invisible, and 100% deadly. They're also just about the cheapest solution a time-strapped video game developer could ever conceive to stop the player going where they are not wanted. Rejoice. Bats. They're vampire bats. Actually, they're just bats, but they bite. That sort of vampire-y. Pumpkin plants. These once good-natured pumpkins fell victim to the Pumpkin King's toxic influence. They're still tasty if you can convince them not to murder you. But perhaps you should think about things from their perspective. How would you feel if someone wanted to scoop out your brains and carve a big goofy smile across your face? Pumpkin bombs. Fresh off the vine, these baby boomers are in too much of a hurry to grow up. They can't wait to spread their pumpkin seed. Rats. These rats seem harmless, but they have tiny fingers and they are probably plotting something terrible. Each rat you squish is an act of treason against the mighty Rat King, Derek. Townspeople. Hypnotized citizens of a once thriving town. They'll happily invite you in for tea, but if they ask to borrow a shovel, you should decline. Boiler guards. Sarek's mechanical goon squad, developed deep in the City of Madness, although manufactured in China, of course. That coal in their stomach fuels them, whence also cooking up a mean brisket. Mad monks. Disciples of the head monk. These men of the cloth have been driven mad by their disappearance of their master, and Jack's insolent ramblings. The harsh chime of a bell tells them an unwelcome guest has arrived, or that it's time for dinner, perhaps both. Hedges. People seldom consider how hard it is to trim a sentient shrub, not least the fire-breathing types, who would just as soon set themselves ablaze as play understudy in your latest For reproduction. No, gardeners in Gallowmere do not get enough credit. Headbangers. With the disappearance of the head monk, these patients have been left to run amok. We don't know exactly what it was that sent them raving mad. Perhaps it was magic, perhaps the moon, or perhaps they were all licking toads. Truly, you should not lick those toads. Dragon toads. Is this really what the ancient dragons evolved into? Their dreadful ancestors would be ashamed. Don't lick their backs. That's a good way to end up in the loony bin. No, really, don't. Just don't. Poisonous plants. Poisonous pollen protects these plants from predators. Just to be safe, they'll fire at everything. Can never be too careful these days. Shadow demons. Some of the most evil, murderous critters ever to blight the land. Thankfully, they were locked away in a famously sealed vault by a great hero hundreds of years ago. Don't worry, we're safe. Only a complete fool would ever set them free. Oh, please tell me you didn't. Ants. Fascinating creatures. Ants, did you know they're as old as the dinosaurs? That they talk using chemicals, or that they share a hive mind? And contrary to popular belief, they actually have no interest whatsoever in your pants. Armored knights. The heaviest of infantry and most ill-suited for the Battle of Gallowmere. Many of them fell victim to the deep mud rather than swords or spears. These undead knights are most effective when rolled down hills or launched from catapults. Tentacles. Touchy feelers of the swamp guardian said to live deep below the water surface. Though too timid to show his many faces, he still likes to stay in touch. Sometimes he stays in touch too hard. Mud Knights. The soil of the ancient battlegrounds made fertile by the blood of centuries spilled forth the husks of these sorry souls. Their battle should have long since ended, and yet still they march in proud defiance of the living. Ghouls. These crestfallen cravens once fled the battlefield, and are now bound to it, doomed to forever relive their greatest moment of shame. And forever is a long time. Tough break. I guess being dead isn't all fun and games. Fish monsters. These frowning fiends have lured naive fishermen near the water before dragging them screaming into the watery depths. There's no such thing as an easy meal in Gallowmere, not for humans at least. Watchers. Hired muscle, the Guardians of Gallowmere should really shell out more claims for their services. Nevertheless, these barnacles still stick around. Guardians of Maldeer? Yeah, it's hard to pronounce. Yeah, Malmere. Or Maldeer. These aquatic abominations found at home in the sunken town of Maldeer. Here, they spent their days performing ritual sacrifices to a maverick elder deity. Probably best not to get involved, I say. Rhinotars. An ill-fated mining expedition by citizens of Maldeer caused a tragic and brutal retaliation by the Rhinotars. They have since gone into hibernation. Nothing aches them more than being woken up early, and to them, anything before 2 p.m. is early. The Condemned. Have no pity for these fools. They were Gallowmere's most heinous criminals, as fearsome in life as they are now in death. What a world we live in, where the guilty execute the innocent. Mummies. These slow-moving busybodies are like Like so wrapped up in themselves, once Gallowmere's elite, they now walk alongside the common corpses. Death brings everyone together. Serpent of Gallowmere. This mean spirit snake was always viewed as the lesser serpent's sibling. It was always cutting this and that. Oh yeah. Oh, they're brothers? Well, if no one wants to worship him, let there be no worshippers at all. Mace Knights. These brain-dead bodyguards still defend King Peregrine. Don't tell them of his passing. They would be devastated. Trained in small arms, these knights must throw their weapons due to their small arms. Stone Golems. Stone Golems were once the hottest ticket in castle security, and King Peregrine was one of the first to purchase a pair for his personal protection. Of course, they say you should always skip the first generation of new tech, and when golems started to stump all and sun to dry, the manufacturers were forced to issue a full product recall. Sadly, King Peregrine missed the recall note on account of being dead, and his golems are still stomping. Many years ago, the foolish sorcerer Muzok the Muddled came into possession of a dragon egg. At this time, Gallowmere was suffering under a terrible famine, and Muzok had been ordered by his king to seek out a magical solution. If only the kingdom's scrawny chickens could lay eggs the size of a dragon egg, thought Muzok, and he set about applying his questionable skills to transform the egg. Several days later, the kingdom had been saved. The hatched chicken dragon, or Jabberwocky, as it came known, possessed the fiercity of a dragon and the dim wit of a chicken. It ravaged through the kingdom on a murderous spree and killed so many that even the harvest was enough to sustain the survivors as they mourned their loved ones. The Jabberwocky was finally chased from the land by the hero Dirk Steadfast, who poked it with his magic sword. Pirate Crew. These are spineless sea dogs with a penchant for plundering. They never complain even when cleaning the poop deck. Obedient to a fault, they won't even revive themselves unless commanded to. Pirate Officers. The pirate captain's right-hand men, despite their lack of right hands, their main qualifications being of no discernible threat to the captain. Flying Clocks. Time really does fly. These clockwork pests will shave minutes off your life with each sweep of their hands. Staring into their faces will tell you the time of your death, nothing you don't know already. Flying Eyeballs. Exactly what? Used in a flying eyeball without a flying brain and without a flying mouth? How can it possibly report what it has seen? I suppose you must be why they simply try to intercept you instead. I don't know. Their names are hard to pronounce, but it's said that these are Zarek's elite skeletal warriors trained by Lord Kardak himself. Mortal weapons cannot hurt them. Only a hero's blow can fell such hard-boiled evil. And you, Sir Fortescue, are no hero, at least not quite yet. Now here are the bosses themselves. Now we get to learn of Zarek's background. It is said that Zarek's preoccupation with necromancy stems from an obsession to resurrect his childhood puppy. Let's just reflect for a moment. Isn't that just tragic? All this poor troubled soul has ever wanted is to command the forces of darkness, enslave mankind, and play ball one last time with dear old Mr. Scruffy. Stained glass demon. I always thought it was a bad idea when they put a demon on their stained glass window. Isn't that a little odd for a holy place? I said. What if a passing sorcerer brings it to life using arcane magic? I said, but did they listen? Yes, he might have a glass jaw, but if you think scattering his dark heart is going to be easy, you better think again. Guardians of the Graveyard. Humanity's last line of defense against the restless undead. They prevent phony beings from escaping to the land of the living. Man's best friend, but not Dan's best friend. Pumpkin King. A terrifying reminder of the perils of competitive vegetable growing. This sinister squash has become a terrible influence on his once peaceful pumpkin. Stark's magic has created the ultimate superfood, this one ghoulish gorn that's simply busting for a Dustin. Dragon Bird. She's not just a set of legs. There's a whole devoted mother bird up there, and no one treasures her eggs more than this bird mama. They may someday hatch into beautiful baby birds, or maybe just into beautiful bags of gold, or bags of golden babies, who knows. Demonettes. Everything is a competition for these demon sisters. When not disemboweling intruders, they enjoy a good game of chess. We'll never know who is better. One of them always flips the table. Queen Ant. Although accustomed to letting her soldiers do all the fighting, this is one tough bugged lady. She's an acid-spitting queen who will fight to her last gasp to defend the front of her insect infants in incubating inside her egg sac. If only there was an airlock you could flush her out of. Mean old dragon, perhaps the last remaining dragon, a fearsome, indomitable beast with absolutely no vulnerabilities apart from that one chronal fracture he obtained from waking up with a start and banging his head on the cave roof. Good thing no one will ever find out about that. Dragons were once hunted for their blood, which is said to grant the power of fire breathing. This particular dragon's solitude storms not from fear of hunters, but from his crippling social anxiety. Ghost Ship Captain. Is it really possible not be a ghost, a skeleton, and a pirate? Yes. Not only that, but this howling trifecta is so fearsome that he was promoted to captain after just a single mutiny. The other pirates look up to him. Well, he is twice their size. Lord Carduct. Zarek's champion has charged into countless battles, equipped with nothing more than a 3-string bow, a modest flail, and a legion of undead soldiers. He's one angry guy, and frankly, it all seems to stem from that time his parents forbid him from going to clogging lessons with his sister. This is what happens. See, if he'll only been able to channel that aggression into folk dance, we'll all be safer. Zarek's beast transformation. Oh yeah. Psychologists all agree that the final desperate form adopted by an on-the-ropes evil sorcerer, once his minions have all failed, tells us a great deal about his particular it's hard to pronounce. What does this form tell us about Zarek? Well, I'm no psychologist, but if ever there was a clearer case of It's not like paranoid. It's hard to pronounce, but. And then my name's not Joe 9. Even that name's hard pronounced.
Our bone-headed protagonist, born again.
Well, that's the Book of Gallowmere. You know, I should have noticed. And yeah, I should have instead pressed triangle instead, but. But reading it myself wasn't that bad. So, that's the entire Book of Gallowmere for you. So, that's everything you need to know on the background of the characters, enemies, and bosses. So, this has been Medieval PS4 Remake. And that includes that. So, maybe next time we'll do the old game. See you guys later.